What if I told you this war is already making your life more expensive? Not next year, not in the future, but right now, silently. Prices are rising around you, but not for the reasons you think. And the most dangerous part is almost nobody is connecting the dots. Because this isn't just about a war happening somewhere far away. This is about money, markets, and the hidden cost hitting your daily life. Every war creates noise, headlines, and breaking news alerts. But the real impact doesn't show up on news. It shows up in prices. In the first place, this impact always appears is energy. Oil prices start moving quietly before most people even notice. When oil goes up, transportation becomes more expensive instantly. And when transportation gets expensive, everything else follows behind. From food delivery to raw materials, costs begin to stack up, and businesses don't absorb these costs. They pass them on to you, so slowly, without warning, your daily expenses start increasing. Groceries cost more, fuel costs more, even basic items feel heavier. But here's where it gets serious. This isn't normal inflation anymore. This is shock-driven inflation, and it behaves very differently. It moves faster, hits harder, and spreads wider across the economy. And central banks struggle to control it because it's not predictable. And they can raise interest rates, but that doesn't fix supply shocks. It only slows the economy down while prices keep rising anyway. Now think about what that really means for you. You're paying more, while growth around you is slowing down. That combination has a name, and it's not a good one. It's called stagflation, and history shows it's extremely dangerous. We've seen this pattern before during past global crises. Different triggers, but the same financial chain reaction. Back in the 1970s, oil shocks changed the entire economic landscape. Inflation exploded and people lost purchasing power rapidly. The same pattern is happening again, just in a modern version. More complex, more connected, and potentially more widespread. Because today's world runs on global supply chains, and war disrupts those chains faster than anything else. Shipping routes become unstable, insurance costs rise sharply, and suddenly, moving goods across the world becomes expensive. That cost doesn't disappear. It gets added to everything you buy. Even products completely unrelated to the conflict feel the impact. That's the hidden connection most people don't see. You don't see the war directly, but you feel it financially. Now let's go one layer deeper into market behavior. Markets don't just react to facts, they react to fear. And fear spreads faster than reality ever does. Investors start pulling money out the moment uncertainty rises. Stock markets become unstable, moving up and down unpredictably. And that volatility creates hesitation across the entire economy. Companies delay hiring, expansion plans get paused, and slowly, job growth begins to weaken behind the scenes. This is where the real pressure builds for everyday people. Not just higher prices, but also weaker income opportunities. Now imagine both happening at the same time. Your expenses are rising, but your income growth is slowing. That's when financial stress starts becoming unavoidable, and most people don't realize it until it's too late. Because the change feels gradual at first. Small increases here, small increases there. But over time, those small changes compound heavily, and suddenly your lifestyle starts adjusting without your permission. Now here's something even more important to understand. Governments respond to crises by increasing spending rapidly. More defense budgets, more emergency funding, more financial support systems. And all of that requires one thing, more money. So they borrow more, and sometimes they print more, and that slowly reduces the value of existing money in the system. Which means your savings lose purchasing power quietly over time. You don't see it instantly, but you definitely feel it eventually. This is what experts call the invisible tax of inflation. And during times like these, that tax increases without warning. Now, here's the twist that most people completely miss. Even if the war ends tomorrow, the financial damage doesn't end. Because markets don't reset instantly after a crisis. They take time to stabilize, rebuild, and regain confidence. Supply chains need months, sometimes years, to fully recover. And during that time, prices remain elevated. Policies stay tight and economic pressure continues. The aftershock often lasts longer than the actual event itself. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And this rhyme feels familiar. We saw similar delayed effects after previous global disruptions. Now bring this back to your daily life again. Why does everything feel slightly more expensive every month? Why does fuel never seem to drop significantly anymore? Why do groceries keep creeping up in price consistently? It's not random, and it's definitely not temporary. It's a system reacting to pressure at multiple levels. Energy, logistics, markets, and policy all connected together. And when one breaks, everything else adjusts around it. Now imagine this continuing for the next few months, or even longer than most people expect. Prices slowly rising while uncertainty remains high. Savings slowly shrinking without obvious warning signs. This is how financial pressure builds in real life. Not in one dramatic crash, but in slow, steady erosion. And that's what makes it dangerous, because most people don't react early enough. They adjust instead of preparing. They accept instead of analyzing. But smart thinkers approach this differently. They don't just react, they observe patterns. They watch oil trends, bond yields, and market sentiment, because these signals often move before the headlines do. And right now, those signals are flashing quietly. Energy instability, inflation pressure, and rising uncertainty. The same pattern is forming again in front of us, and most people are still looking the other way. If you want to understand these signals before everyone else, keep following US Finance Insight, because this isn't about predicting events, it's about understanding impact. Now here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Uncertainty is not just risk, it's also information. It tells you where pressure is building in the system and where future opportunities might appear. During uncertain times, liquidity becomes extremely important. Flexibility becomes more valuable than aggressive risk-taking, because when chaos hits, those who are prepared stay calm, and those who aren't react emotionally at the worst time. We saw this clearly during past financial crises. Panic decisions destroyed more wealth than the crisis itself, while patient investors found opportunities hidden inside fear. Because markets always overreact before they stabilize, and this time might not be different, just more complex and more global. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth you need to hear. Most people won't recognize this shift early enough. They'll feel the pressure but won't understand the cause. And by the time they connect the dots, it's already late. That's why awareness is your biggest advantage right now. Not prediction, not guessing, just awareness of patterns. Because once you see the system clearly, you think differently. You prepare instead of reacting blindly. And right now, the system is under pressure. Quietly, gradually, but very clearly. Oil is moving, markets are reacting, and costs are rising. Step by step, the impact is spreading globally. From global conflict to your wallet, everything is connected. And that connection is already affecting your daily life. The only question is not if this impacts you. The real question is how much it already has. Because by the time it becomes obvious to everyone, the biggest changes have already happened. And possibly, the hardest phase is just beginning. Subscribe to US Finance Insight for deeper market signals before the headlines catch up.